Under a blood-red moon, a child was born into a kingdom already trembling. The priestess lifted the baby high and whispered the words that would change everything. Under the crimson moon, this child will reclaim the throne. But in Tsukigakure, prophecy was not a blessing. It was a death sentence. That same night, the palace burned. A loyal guard ran through the chaos with the baby in his arms, while the queen screamed behind him, "Run, save Aiko." And with fire swallowing the palace, the guard made a vow. Even if I die, the heir will live. The princess disappeared that night, and the kingdom believed she was dead. Years passed. Far away in a snowy mountain village, Aiko grew up as an ordinary girl. No crown, no palace, no memory of who she was. But every night, fire followed her in her dreams. One day, she asked her mentor, "Sensei, why do I always dream of fire?" And Renji answered, "Because some flames are born inside us." Renji trained her in silence, how to fight, how to endure, how to survive a world that would destroy her if it knew the truth. But there was one thing he feared most, the crescent mark on her skin. "Hide that mark," he warned. "The world hunts miracles." Aiko gripped her sword and replied, "Then let it come." One night, Renji took her to a hidden shrine. There, among old relics and forgotten crowns, he finally revealed the truth. "You are Aiko of Tsukigakure, the lost princess." Her whole life cracked open in one breath. The dreams, the training, the mark, everything had been leading to this. Aiko looked at the crown and said, "Then I'll take back my name." Aiko, the child of the Crimson Moon Part 2. Aiko did not beg for loyalty. She demanded truth. She stood before rebels, outcasts, and broken warriors, raising her sword against the lie that stole her life. "I'm not here to beg for a throne," she said. "I'm here to end a lie." And for the first time in years, the people of Tsukigakure had a name to believe in again. Aiko, the hidden heir, the flame that survived. But the deepest wounds do not come from enemies. They come from the hands we trusted. Renji betrayed her. He handed her over to the soldiers of the false ruler, believing the prophecy would destroy everything. Rain fell. Aiko struggled, and the man who raised her could not even look her in the eyes. "Forgive me, Aiko," he said. "The prophecy only brings death." Aiko's voice broke through the storm. "You were my home." They locked her away. No army, no mentor, no crown. But chains cannot hold a heart that has already survived fire. In the darkness, Aiko broke free, not as a princess, not as a student, not as anyone's prophecy, but as herself. No master, no mercy. I rise alone. Aiko returned to the throne room. The false ruler fell. The palace that once stole her life now trembled before her. But victory did not feel like peace. Renji, wounded by his own choices, reached toward her and confessed the truth. The prophecy was never salvation. It was ruin. And from the floor, the defeated ruler whispered, "You've doomed us all." That was when Aiko understood. The prophecy was not about restoring the kingdom. It was about ending it. Aiko sat on the throne beneath the crimson eclipse. The palace was silent. The city watched in fear. The child they tried to bury had returned. But she was no longer the girl they expected. She had lost her home, her mentor, her mercy, and as shadows spread across Tsukigakure, Aiko looked down from the throne and spoke the words that ended the old kingdom forever. "Then let the kingdom burn. If they feared my shadow, I'll give them night." The end. She was not looking for love. She was looking for a miracle. Naomi's mother was dying, and the hospital bills were swallowing everything she had. Then Ren Ishikawa appeared with an offer that sounded like rescue, but felt like a cage. "1 year," he said. "Be my wife. Your mother's treatment will be covered." Naomi looked at the contract. held back her tears, and signed away her peace. If this marriage saves her, I'll sign. But she didn't know that some contracts don't just take your name. They take your heart too. The wedding shocked all of Japan. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. The world called Naomi lucky. A poor girl marrying the cold heir of Ishikawa Group? To them, it was a fairy tale. But behind Ren's perfect suit and Naomi's beautiful smile, there was no romance, only rules. Ren leaned close and whispered, "Just play your role, Naomi." And Naomi smiled for strangers, while slowly becoming a stranger to herself. Inside the Ishikawa mansion, Naomi was not treated like a wife. She was treated like a mistake. Ren's mother mocked her. His relatives disrespected her. The staff whispered behind her back. A contract wife should know her place. Naomi bowed her head, not because she was weak, but because she was trying to survive. Still, she looked at them and said softly, "I am still your son's wife." But the saddest part, Ren heard everything and said nothing. Every time Naomi needed protection, Ren looked away. When his ex humiliated her at a party, Ren stayed silent. When his family insulted her, Ren called it drama. When Naomi cried, he called her emotional. "You're just rented love in a pretty dress," his ex whispered. Naomi looked across the room at Ren, waiting for him to defend her. But he only said, "Don't cause a scene." That night, Naomi learned something painful. A man can stand beside you in public and still abandon you in private. Naomi endured until endurance became a wound. She gave him 1 year of smiles, 1 year of silence, 1 year of pretending she was not breaking. Then, on the final day of the contract, she placed the divorce papers on his desk. Ren stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Naomi removed the ring and said, "I fulfilled the contract. Learn how to live without me." Ren whispered, "Naomi, don't leave me like this." But she had already left him long before she walked out the door. Contract Bride Part 2. Then came the truth. At the hospital, Ren discovered what Naomi had hidden for months. Stress, exhaustion, emotional pain, and the quiet damage caused by the people he allowed to hurt her. All this time, she was suffering alone. Ren asked. The doctor looked at him and answered. She hid pain, stress, and abuse for months. Naomi opened her tired eyes and said the words that broke him completely. "You never asked if I was okay." And for the first time, Ren understood. His silence had been cruelty. Regret did not arrive gently. It crashed into Ren's life like punishment. He remembered every insult he ignored, every tear he dismissed, every time Naomi looked at him, waiting to be chosen, and every time he chose pride instead. "I treated her like a contract," he whispered, "but she loved me like I was her world." Now the mansion felt empty, the ring felt heavy, and the woman he thought he owned was the only one he could not bring back. Months passed. Naomi rebuilt herself. She opened a beautiful floral studio in Tokyo and became peaceful, soft, and unreachable. Then Ren appeared with flowers in his hands and regret in his eyes. "I came to take you home," he said. Naomi looked around her shop and replied, "This is home now." He sent gifts. She returned them. He waited outside. She locked the door, because when a woman finally finds peace, she stops answering the door for pain. Rain fell outside Naomi's shop. Ren stood there, soaked and desperate. "I was wrong," he said. "Tell me how to fix this." Naomi looked at him calmly. "You should have protected me when I was yours to protect." Ren dropped to his knees. "Give me one more chance." But Naomi's voice did not shake. "You want forgiveness, not me." Then she turned away and said, "I chose myself." And for the first time, Ren felt what Naomi had felt for 1 whole year. Powerless. Ren no longer wanted the wife he paid for. He wanted the woman he broke. But love is not restored by tears alone. It is rebuilt by patience, accountability, and change. Naomi held a single white flower and said, A second chance is not something pain can buy. Ren looked at her and whispered, then I'll keep proving I can change. But Naomi did not smile. She did not run back. She only walked away with peace in her hands. Because sometimes the real ending is not whether he gets her back. It is whether she finally gets herself back. So tell me, after everything Ren did, would you forgive him if he truly changed? Or would you let him watch you become happy without him? Drop your answer in the comments. Take him back, or let him suffer? Caged Heart, the girl who almost mistook fear for love. He kidnapped her for revenge, but he was the first one to fall. And the most dangerous part? She started wondering if the cage was safer than freedom. Hana Kisaragi was walking home under the neon lights of Tokyo when her life changed forever. One moment, she was free. The next, a black car stopped beside her. A tall, cold-eyed man stepped out from the rain. Before she could scream, he grabbed her. "Who are you? Let me go," Hana cried. The man leaned close and whispered, "Stay quiet, Hana Kisaragi. I only need you alive." His name was Riku Amamiya, and he had not come for money. He had come for revenge. Hana woke up in a locked room. No phone, no windows she could open, no way out. Across the table, Riku placed food and water in front of her like he was doing something kind. But kindness inside a cage is still control. "Why me?" Hana asked, shaking. Riku's face hardened. "Your father stole everything from me." Hana froze. She knew her father had enemies, but she never imagined she would become the punishment for sins she did not commit. Days passed. Hana refused to eat, refused to speak, refused to let fear become obedience. But Riku was not as heartless as he wanted to seem. When she injured her wrist trying to escape, he cleaned it silently. Hana stared at him, confused. "Why are you helping me?" Riku wrapped the bandage carefully and said, "Because no one here is allowed to hurt you." But that sentence did not sound like protection. It sounded like ownership, and Hana knew the difference. Riku came back one night wounded and exhausted. Hana should have ignored him. He was the reason she was trapped. He was the reason she was afraid. But when she saw him struggling, something inside her moved. Not love, not yet. Maybe pity, maybe confusion, maybe fear learning to speak softly. Riku looked away and said, "You should hate me." Hana covered his wound with trembling hands. "I do," she whispered. Then her voice broke. "So why am I worried?" And that scared her more than the locked door. Weeks passed. The cage became familiar. The sound of Riku's footsteps, the meals he brought, the way he stood between her and the men who wanted to harm her. Hana began to see the broken boy behind the dangerous man. But pain can disguise itself as connection when you are lonely. One evening, she stood on the rooftop, staring at the city she could no longer touch. Riku stood behind her. "When this ends," he said, "forget me." Hana turned slowly. "Then why do you look like you're asking me to stay?" For the first time, Riku had no answer. Everything changed when Hana found the file. Old photos, police reports, a newspaper clipping, a girl smiling beside Riku, his younger sister. Hana's hands shook as she read the truth. Her father's company had ruined Riku's family, and his sister had died because of it. Hana looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Your sister died because of my father?" Riku's voice was low. "I took you for revenge." He paused. "Then I made the mistake of falling first." Hana stepped back, because suddenly the monster had a wound. But a wound does not excuse becoming someone else's prison. That night, Hana made her choice. She could understand Riku's pain, but she could not live inside it. She stole the key, ran through the rain, and pushed through the gates. Her heart was breaking, not because she hated freedom, but because part of her was afraid to leave the only person who had protected her from the danger he created. "I have to leave," she cried, "before I stop wanting to." Behind her, Riku walked out into the rain. He did not shout. He did not chase immediately. He only watched the girl he had trapped choose herself. At the train station, Hana almost made it. The lights flickered. The rain fell harder. Then Riku appeared, not with a weapon, not with anger, but with desperation in his eyes. Hana turned on him. "You stole my life." Riku reached for her hand. "Hate me, Hana. Just don't disappear." Hana pulled away, crying. That is not love, Riku. That is fear wearing your face. And for the first time, he looked like he believed her. Police lights flashed in the distance. Hana had finally found help. Her phone was in her hand. One call, and it would all be over. But her thumb froze. Why did leaving hurt? Why did freedom feel like betrayal? Why did she miss someone who had no right to keep her? Hana whispered, "This isn't love. So, why does leaving you hurt?" Riku stood several steps away, broken and silent. Because fear can teach the heart the wrong language. Hana looked at him, and that was the twist. She had not fallen in love with her captor. She had fallen into survival. And survival is not romance. At sunrise, Hana stood at the edge of the rooftop. The city glowed beneath her. The door behind her was open. For the first time, nobody was stopping her. Riku stood in the doorway, soaked by rain and regret. "Go, Hana," he said quietly. "Before I stop pretending I can let you go." Hana turned to him one last time. "Then why am I the one turning back?" The wind moved between them, not as love, not as forgiveness, but as a warning. Some bonds feel powerful because they are dangerous. Some hearts feel attached because they are wounded. And sometimes, the hardest escape is not leaving the room. It is leaving the version of yourself that learned to survive there. Was Hana wrong for almost caring about Riku? Drop your answer in the comments. Run, Hana, or turn back.